The next recipe I wanted to show you using Brussels sprouts actually uses Brussels sprouts that have been thinly sliced. So I just used a sharp knife for this, but if you're going to be doing a large quantity of them, you can always use the slicing blade on a food processor to speed things up for you. So I'm going to saute this on the stove with a little bit of some other flavorings here. So I'm going to use some shallots, some garlic, a bit of olive oil, and some lemon juice. Keep it nice and simple, and it's going to taste great. I just started sauteing my shallots and garlic here in a bit of butter and a bit of olive oil. And I'm just going to give it a good stir. And what we're really looking for here is for the shallots to become mostly translucent, start to soften a bit. You want some nice aromas, good fragrance going from the garlic. Maybe a little bit of browning as well. So once it reaches that stage, and we're pretty much there now, we can add our Brussels sprout mixture here. So the thinly sliced Brussels sprouts can get added in. And now we're just going to cook that down until it kind of wilts a little bit. You don't need it to be cooked really fully here. It can be just softened down nicely. So that can take about 4 to 5 minutes or so. And at this stage, we can also season everything as well. So I'm just going to do a bit of salt and pepper. And I can't resist adding a bit of chili flakes. I didn't bring those out, but I will add those afterwards, I guess. Totally optional, of course. So we're just going to stir that around. It might start to brown a little bit here. You can turn your heat up a little bit. Brussels sprouts are like baby cabbages, so they are quite a hardy vegetable, and so they do hold their structure pretty well even after cooking. They wilt down a bit, but they still manage to hold a bit of their structure. So it's a great vegetable to cook in a bunch of different ways, even when shredded like this. And this shredded mixture here is a great base to use for brunch and breakfast dishes as well. So you can use this sort of as a hash. You can add some potatoes or sweet potatoes in there, or some butternut squash that's been cooked. And then just crack a couple eggs, make a couple wells in the top, crack a few eggs in there, maybe pour a tablespoon or two of water in with it, cover it, and just until the yolks are basically cooked to your liking. And then you have a nice brunch dish. So it's pretty versatile, but I also just really like it as a side vegetable as well. Okay, so that is as cooked as I want it to be, I think. So I'm just gonna finish it off with a squeeze of lemon juice for some really nice brightness. And I'm gonna turn that off, and we're done here. So I'll try and hold this up here. So that's a really, really nice side vegetable, really easy to do as well. And you can serve that as a side for any of your meals that you're having. It's a different way of having Brussels sprouts, different than the typical ways that you may see out there. So give that one a try at home. The last recipe I wanted to show you using Brussels sprouts is actually for a salad. So we're gonna use it in its raw, fresh form. We don't always think of using Brussels sprouts raw, but you certainly can because they're just baby cabbages. So what I've done here is slice them really thinly. I just used a sharp knife here, but you could always use a slicing blade on a food processor if you wanted to speed things up. Before I assemble the salad, I just want to do a quick salad dressing here, and I'm gonna make my go-to dressing that I make all the time. If I could only choose one dressing to make for the rest of my days, it would be this one. It's a simple lemon dressing. So I have 1 clove of garlic that I've minced and put in the bottom of my jar here. And to that, I'm gonna add my lemon juice, of course, some olive oil, and you can use a different kind of oil if you want. You can always use canola oil or sunflower oil, something like that. I'm using some grainy mustard today as well for some more flavor. You can always use Dijon or whatever other kind of mustard you like. And I'm going to add some maple syrup just to balance out all of that acidity from the lemon juice. You don't need much of that either. And just some salt for some seasoning, and pepper as well, doesn't hurt anything. So a few grinds of that. And that's it. I make this dressing all the time. It is super simple and it goes really well with so many different things. So I'm just going to put the lid on that, give that a shake. And the dressing is made just like that. So now all we have to do is assemble the salad. And I have my Brussels sprouts that I've thinly sliced, so I'm gonna add that to my bowl first thing. And then I have a few other ingredients here as well. So I have some red onion that I've thinly sliced. You don't need much of that, a little bit goes a long way. I did give this a quick rinse. I sliced it thinly and then rinsed it just to get rid of any of that excess sharp flavor. So I'm gonna add that. And then I have some butternut squash here that I actually roasted. So I just peeled it, diced it, and then roasted it in the oven with a bit of olive oil, some chili powder, cumin, cayenne, and garlic powder, just until it was nice and tender. So I'm gonna add that. This is such a nice fall salad using the fall veggies. And then I have some feta cheese that I have crumbled up here. Another great flavor to add. And some sunflower seeds that I've toasted for some crunch. And all that's left to do now is just to add the dressing and give it a quick toss. So I'm gonna add all of that because I do want it to soak in and get nice and flavorful. And then you just wanna toss that all up together. And you have a beautiful fall salad. And this is one that can be made a little bit ahead of time too. So if you were making this for Thanksgiving or Christmas to serve to your family, you could make it, I would say, up to an hour in advance because the Brussels sprouts are hardy enough that they're not gonna become soggy and wilted. So it's a nice one to prepare at least a little bit in advance. And that's all done. It's beautiful and colorful and it's ready to go. So hopefully you learned a few things today about Brussels sprouts. Hopefully you give some of these recipes a try and enjoy. Have a great rest of your day.